Well. You're listening to Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright then, I may say words on point, straightforward. No jibber jabber, everybody forward. Issues, facts and solution. Get it at Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright, what other thing is a revolution? Get it on point with Professor Buitrón. Gloves Off, no nonsense issues, politics, community. A better men follow reader. Gloves Off, a revolutionary show with everything that you need to know. With Professor Buitrón. Watch ya!
We're back at you in Gloves On, Professor Buitrón, and I'm here with a beautiful family that's gotten together with parent 50-50 parenting. How are we doing Eric? We doing good?
Yeah.
Doing great.
Doing good.
Great.
Awesome. Many families end up in a divorce throughout the world, especially in the United States, and 50-50 parenting is when the child spends 50% of the time with both parents eating. And every time somebody goes into files for a divorce, they're being told that they get to receive 50-50 parenting. And all of a sudden, it's no longer 50-50, end up with something called either extended or standard visitation. And then there's a lot of conflicts that arise from it. How do you all come to the agreement of 50-50, number one?
Well, 50-50 with the communicating for us, it makes it to where everybody gets along and we don't fight the way that other people do, because it takes that winner or loser out of everything. So when everybody's equal and everybody's the same, it removes the drama.
Yep.
Okay. And who was the first one that initiated 50-50? Was it the father or the mother?
Actually, it was kind of one of those things where it was, I believe it was kind of just an idea at first, because it wasn't really brought up in the court system itself. That wasn't an option. So we were kind of trying to figure out a way to pretty much to work it where the legality of it would reflect how we were doing the custody. But I don't remember if who brought it up initially.
I think it was kind of a combination, because we're trying to work out, as Jeremy got older, what was going to kind of work best for him and what was going to work best for us, especially, as he was going into middle school and then, high school, extracurricular activities, he was getting more involved with stuff like that. So we just kind of had to go with, what made the most sense for all of us together. So.
Yeah, and there was an actual point when we were living in Waco that we're like, hey, we want out of Waco. And we had an out because Heather could move her job to another branch from the company that she was working at. And we're like, you know what? Hey, this just makes sense. Let's pack it up, go from Waco to San Antonio. Jeremy can see his dad and his stepmother like a lot more. Let's just do it. At that point, it made sense.
I think that you have to understand when we've done 50-50 at 2 different times. So when the divorce first happened, Heather and Jared decided to do 50-50 because they were both active duty. So I don't know, Heather, Jared, which of you guys brought that up originally?
That I do not remember.
Heather? Yeah, that was many years ago.
So you all have been this for a long time, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The question that's always asked when parents come to the point of just talking about 50-50, there's always people that say it's good for the child. It's good because always, like you mentioned before, the beauty out of a case. And also, maybe there's always don't do it because the father just wants away paying child support. That's not the case. And how do you feel about it?
Well, we personally don't have a child support order. There's never been a child support order because of doing the 50-50. And Heather and Jared felt that they were mature enough that if one needed more money, that they could come together and do it. But it's not about the child support, or it's not about not paying child support. That's a completely different topic, and it's about the kid and getting to have that time. Now, our households are a little bit different than a lot of people's. We are in the same income bracket between the two of us. So neither household, it doesn't make sense to take 20% from one and give it to the other when you're doing a week on, week off, and you're in the same income bracket. If one of us was much lower in the income bracket, it might have made sense. But when you're equal, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Or at least that's my opinion. Heather?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
no, I completely agree. It just, I mean, even from the get-go, it didn't make sense at all. We've always operated under the, we're going to, when Jeremy's at our house, we take care of stuff. When he's over there, they take care of stuff. But at the same time, we have some shared expenses, obviously. He's 16 years old, so he's driving. So, he's got a cell phone. That's all shared expenses, because it doesn't make sense for us not to share that, and it doesn't make sense for one of us to be paying the other when he's split time. So
Absolutely. Now, Jeremy, how do you feel about what say, especially I hear from you, because many people out there that it's good for the kids. They're moving back and forth and living out of a suitcase. What do you think about it? What are your words of wisdom? Because you lived it.
I think the main thing that I'd say I disagree with when people are talking about shared parenting is the living out of a suitcase part, uh, because that's not at all true. Um, because I'm having equal time at both households, so it makes it to where I'm able to have 100% of the experience at one place and 100% at the other place. It's not the experience and the connection isn't 50-50. It's 100-100, because I'm able to fully spend time with each household and each parents. Uh, so I think it actually helps further a connection uh, with my parents on both sides. I'm able to feel that connection more because it's shared, instead of I don't feel at home over here, but I feel at home over here, or vice versa. But yeah, and I think it definitely is, it benefits me. Uh, Also, how they're talking about shared expenses. Uh, I know I personally don't pay or dabble with what they do, but I definitely feel an improvement when they are sharing expenses, or how expenses are dealt with at their respective households, because it doesn't feel like one party is disadvantaged.
Absolutely. That to me has been the most powerful, how can I say, words have come from somebody for just a very long time. Okay? I'm going to tell why. Because a lot of people do not want 50-50 because they all want to take control. And they want to take control, and that's when alienation becomes a gift factor. And I've always said this, and I say this always, parent alienation, the seed has planted in the person wearing a black robe. And that person is the one who plants this, and it's continually watered by law enforcement that do not allow parents visitation. And with 50-50, I think we have parents that become parents that be adults in the room. They both have their children, and they understand that a child needs to love both the father and mother, and that cannot stop. How do you all feel about that?
Oh, I definitely think that 50-50 is where you start at that to lower alienation, to lower the violations of 2503. Because if you start out in a situation in divorce court where the very first thing is you're equal, now that ball can move. So, abusers, anything like that where you wouldn't qualify for joint managerial conservator, you would not qualify for 50-50 either. So we're just talking about the typical people that go in there. And if you went in there and the very first thing is you're equal and the physical custody is equal, then that takes away a lot of that mindset of, oh, well, I'm the mom, so we're going to do it my way, or I get to decide. So yeah, I know that it's supposed to be your weekend, but my family's coming into town and we're gonna have them because that's the way it is.
And that's, it makes it a lot less stressful for both parents as well, not having to go through that fight. Like I said, when you start out equal, there's the stressors are way down. With a lot of things, and then one of the big ones is, nobody ever looks at the side of it. Well, when you're doing this, a non 50-50 split, when your time is limited, so, when a dad's time is limited to just, was that first, third, and fifth Wednesday or whatever weekend or whatever it was, okay, now we've got to fit all that, all this stuff that we would do into those 2 days really, really quickly, and then when he's gone for the summertime, when that little bit of time, I've got to fit all of my summer plans into that one little time, really, really quickly. So that time spent with the kids sometimes can feel rushed because you're trying to cram all these experiences in this short amount of time. Now it's less stressful. It's easy. It's just a day-to-day living, and we just make sure, we make plans around the times that Jeremy's at our house. They make plans about the time that Jeremy's at their house. And because there's less stress, there's less arguments. If something changes, we're able to talk about it like adults and make some switches when need be for unforeseen events.
And I think
That's beautiful. But
I think another thing about the whole, we're not spending these weekends or this summer at one place and the whole rest of the time at another. I think it definitely makes it to where I'm able to do more because let's see, like this past summer, since I was able to be at both houses, just like with the summers before, I was able to experience or like make plans with one place, and then when I go over to the other house, make separate plans. Or if there's something that, like, yeah, I think it's just I get to do more because I'm not restricted and I'm able to be at both places during the summer and not at one place this time and one place at this other time.
I was just going to say, I think some things that people don't think about the first, third, and fifth weekend is kids can't do the normal things that other kids do. So if somebody's birthday party, your best friend's birthday party happens to be on the third weekend, you don't get to go because it's one of like 4 days a month that you get to see your other parent. Or if you're, nobody wants to give up those 4 days. And if people aren't willing to work in swap days, or if it's a problem to do that, then the non-custodial parent becomes the bad guy because they want to see their kid one of their 4 days a month.
Have you all tried to talk to legislation here in Texas?
Absolutely. Sarah actually is the main spokesperson from us that usually goes and talks to representatives and legislation, and well,
Well, Jeremy has also spent some time up at the Capitol. We have a bill. There's a group of parents that have gotten together, and there's a bill that's been written. And one of the things that we're doing right now is we're talking to different state representatives and different state senators, trying to get sponsors for that bill for this coming session. We have some pretty good leads. But last year, Jeremy, my mother, Jared, and myself spoke at a seminar that was happening at the Capitol to try to teach some aspects of shared parenting to legislators. And then we do try to reach out. I've had, I think, about 5 meetings in the last 2 months with legislators concerning shared parenting. So it's something that we do regularly.
And I'm proud you all are doing that. And I think Texas needs to be the grown-up out of 50 states and say, you know what, we're going to add 50-50 as one choice. It is needed. Some parents, of course, you know, divorce happened, but love their child is still there. And doesn't mean they can't parent together.
From this, the way it sits now, you pretty much have to provide that as your own option, because I'm fairly certain most attorneys wouldn't have that as an option. And I want to, but we'll stay out of the that for now, and kind of the whole legal system as it sits. But being aware of that is an option, that you and your ex or soon-to-be ex can choose that. They can, that's up to them. And that's really where to start off, is just that it is an option.
When Jared and I split up all those many years ago, I think we both went to our lawyers and said, listen, we don't want child support. We want to come up with our own schedule. And it was literally written into the paperwork. Okay, both parties have decided that they're going to come up with their own schedule. And then they put the standard visitation, or whatever you call it, in there as a backup, you know, with the clause, you know, hey, if for some reason the schedule is not agreed upon, it'll fall back to this. But I mean, from the get-go, and that was back in 2004? So I mean, that's how many years we've been doing this. So back in 2005, we both went to our attorneys and said, this is what we want. Because, you know, in the end, it's not Jeremy's fault that Jared and I just found that marriage just between the two of us was not working, that we weren't compatible as a married couple. It wasn't Jeremy's fault. That doesn't mean that I loved him any less, or Jared loved him any less, or that one of us loved him more than the other. So why should Jeremy suffer because 2 adults decided that they couldn't get along and live in the same house anymore?
The problem with not doing 50-50 is that you give one parent so much more power than the other parent. And then that sometimes, we're all humans. And so I know Heather will agree with me here. There were times that, because she's a human being, that paperwork said if she decided not to agree, that didn't happen. And so there were times where she was sometimes like, yeah, I don't have to agree with this because I have all the power.
Yeah.
And that's just wrong.
Yeah, there was no need for me to have all that power, because again, it's not, you know, Jeremy's not just my child. So why should I have all that power to finally go, you know what? I'm tired of doing it this way. Done. And, you know, I don't agree with you, so we're just going to go back to this where I now have all of the time with them. Like, there's no reason. There's no reason for me to have all that power. There's no reason for Jared to have all that power. There's no reason for one parent to have all that power in a situation where you have two fit parents, 2 stable households.
Right. So no matter how good of a person you are, when you give somebody that much power,
Absolutely.
It's going to, at some point in time, cause some sort of thing. So you have to make sure, we're talking about kids here. We're not talking about mom's rights. We're not talking about dad's rights. We're talking about the kids' rights. And the kids have a right to both parents. The kids have a right to equal relationships with both parents. And when you give one parent more power than the other, then no matter how good of a person they are, no matter how mature of an adult they are, at some point in time, they are going to be tempted to use that power. So if the laws focused on the children's rights and less about the parents' rights, then we could make that better for the kids. Statistics show that having the two-parent shared custody puts them back on the same level as children from a nuclear family. Jeremy gets this wide variety of adults to follow. He has this huge family, not just the 4 parents, but we all have parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins. He learns working on cars and motorcycles with his dad. He learns finances and things like that with me. He learns computers and IT a lot from Heather. And then he does a lot of cooking and stuff like that with Bobby, because Bobby's a chef. So he has this huge different mix he would not get in a 2-parent household. And then there's this whole big part of who he is that he gets because it's week on, week off. So you can learn about working on your cars and how to take care of them and all of those kinds of things in a week. But in 2 days on a weekend, you're not going to get that same knowledge.
I think one of the other benefits of it is with Jeremy, going week here, week there, and all of us getting along and communicating so well, we have basically cut out the possibility of, because you see it in families where dad only gets visitations on whatever, where the kids learn that they can play the parents off of each other. Dad's going to give me more stuff because he only sees me every once in a while, so I can do that. Or, well, mom lets me do it at home. Dad lets me do it when I'm at his house. We've cut that out. Like, Jeremy can't really play us against each other because we're all communicating regularly. So, sorry, kiddo.
Oh, a lot of the societal plagues, we'll call them, stem from fatherless homes. Having an involved father, you are 75% less likely to have a teen birth. Also, you are 80% of those in jail come from fatherless homes. So if the only thing that we have to do to really avoid being a statistic once we've divorced is by doing shared physical custody, isn't that something that all parents should want to do for their kids? They are, I believe, 60% more likely to get straight A's. And it's something that when you do shared parenting and your kids get involved in things, you all get to go. There's something to say about when Jeremy's out, doing drill team and he looks over and he sees all 4 of us there. He's never looking for one of us in the crowd and unable to find us. We're always together.
And being loud.
And being very loud.
You're really correct.
One of the things when he did karate, we were able to go up to see him do that, but it's not something that we were able to see every belt test with. And it was only every now and again because we lived so far apart. That's just not as much fun for the kid. They don't feel as encouraged. Having 4 parents and 4 people that feel equally responsible and that we all treat in the same manner, we have backups. So if he gets to a drill competition for junior ROTC and has forgot something, there are 3 other backups. There are 4 responsible adults that can take over trying to get him whatever he needs. If he has to go to the doctor, now most of the time he drives himself because he's older, but when he was younger, there's 4 of us. So if Jared can't take off work because of a meeting and Heather can't take off because of a meeting, there's still me and Bobby.
Sure.
So
And
not
the way,
one
that way it should,
person is taking. Oh,
you know,
sorry.
and that's the way it should be, and that's not the way it should. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's you don't have to take all your vacation time to take the kid to the dentist or take the kid to the doctor. Or if you get called in late, Heather's job, she is pretty high up in management. And so if they call her in, she has to go in. So if Bobby's at work when Jeremy was younger and we weren't comfortable with him staying by himself, who was she going to get? She was going to call a babysitter, or in our family, she just calls us and says, hey, I got called in. Can I drop Jeremy off? Sure.
That goes back to the less stress on the parents, you know, because we're all operating as a team. So we're not, you know, I'm not having to sit here and figure out by myself, all right, what am I going to do? Because I've got to work this weekend, but Jeremy's here this weekend, and, you know, I've got a team. So.
Absolutely. And the way to be. That's the way to be. You not be, oh, you're going to see your dad. You can't do it. They come with a long face, but it's already yelling about it. No, this has to be love throughout, and that's what it should be. What a beautiful, it's beautiful what I'm seeing. Pure, beautiful energy. And that's what we, if somebody wants in your area or somebody wants that more 50-50, is there anyone that can contact you? On an email or on
Actually,
a page or something? Go ahead.
Jeremy has a Facebook page called Jeremy Talks Back. And that's normally when questions come in about 50-50 and they really want a child that's living its perspective or any sort of answers or anything like that, they can hit them up on that, which we all have access to monitor as well. So it's...
The parents will read the message first, and then Jeremy, if it's appropriate, will get it. We have had people ask for like Heather's opinion on something because she's the mom that does 50-50, or Jared's opinion on something. But Jeremy Talks Back, Father's Anonymous, those are the 2 probably easiest places to find us. But it's pretty simple. What is it? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
That's really what we need to be doing with child custody, is instead of going into courts and fighting and our laws causing a winner-loser situation, or I volunteer a lot in the shared parenting community. So I've actually seen where parents are in agreement. They go before a judge and the judge refuses to sign the order because the judge says he doesn't typically sign off on no child support orders. So when the judge does that, which my understanding is against Texas law because the parents have mediated agreement, they have one, he's causing fighting. So if they feel that they don't need to fight about child support and he says, no, I have to order child support, or I'm going to order child support no matter what you've said, that's causing a fight.
Yep.
That's putting your own desires for whatever and causing this child's life to have drama that it doesn't need to have.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's feeding someone's bank account.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And it's sad to see that what happened in every county across Texas and across the United States. Let me tell you a little bit of what happened with me when we wanted a divorce. We wanted 50. Okay, we had put down 50, 1 week, 1 week off, 1 week off. I was ended up with 7 signed decrees. Some of them didn't even have vacations. Okay, I was supposed to have extended and had some kind of something or other, more extended, everything else. Finally, after 5 years, it was fixed, and it was now that I can see them extended. Okay, that's why we say the people that plant seed, preparing the nation, are those magistrates that are sitting out there that have gap, and those that continue fertilizing water plant of parenting of alienation are the law enforcement that do not enforce visitation rights. And here over the last 5 years, there have been 0 arrests made for interference with child custody, people 2003. Okay? Until now, starting to see some come up with a warrant after so many police reported just arrested somebody about 2 weeks ago. So there's a change moving on. But people like you all, people that stand up and we're not going to have this anymore, have to continue that. And I'm glad you all are doing it, because people out there that are suffering, and the ones suffering are kids, and we cannot allow that. Okay. Some parents shut themselves off and they're going to vice, and others fight their way to depression. And we can't allow that either. Okay? We have to continue with healthy citizens that love their kids to continue moving on in this great nation. And we have failed our children as a nation, and now we have to step up. If on the feed, I'm going to have it both on YouTube and all on our Facebook page. You all can subscribe on it. But I'd like to have some information on groups later on, and tell me which ones are those for me to put in for people that are in need, that are looking for them to start looking for parenting. And if there's some way we can help all with 50/50, let's do it. I think is needed. Anything else I'd like to say to the folks there?
The biggest thing that we need help with in getting legislation passed is that the legislators are not hearing from the non-custodial parents. They hear from the custodial parents complaining about not getting their child support and things like that. But legislators are very rarely contacted from the I want to be a parent to my kid. Now, everybody that contacts their legislator has to do it very professionally, very calmly. You know, this I'm only allowed to see my child, or I am only a parent to my child this many days a month. But that's really what we need. We need more parents contacting their legislators and making sure those legislators know what's really going on. If you've had a case where you and your ex-spouse had agreed to something and the judge refused to sign off on it, then you need to be contacting your legislator, because according to the Texas Family Law Foundation, which is our opposition to any family law reform, is that the judges have to sign off on agreements that are made between the parents unless they're dangerous or not in the best interest of the child. So when parents agree to these things, why do we have judges that are going around those? So when the legislators are told that judges have to sign off on your agreement if you're, as parents, decide, they don't understand that's not the reality of what's happening. You know, our family is a little weird. We actually don't have a custodial parent. There's no custodial parent and there's no non-custodial parent. We did find a way to do that using the Texas Family Code by closing all of the loopholes. And for us, that works better. Now, I understand that most people that probably wouldn't. But there was questions from our lawyers on whether or not we were going to get a judge to sign off on it. And that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
So it's all about making sure our legislators understand what's really going on in reality versus what they're told is supposed to be happening.
No, you're absolutely correct. Heather, I'd like to say something before we...
You know, speaking from the mom's side, where especially, you know, I know Texas is big on, most of your custodial parents that you do see are moms. So I think it's really important that coming from, you know, even the custodial parents, you know, like Sarah said, a lot of them it's complaining, I didn't get my child support, you know, he did this, he did that, yada, yada, yada. we need to hear more from the moms who are going, you know what, this man is a good father, and I want to be able to, let him see his child more often and have a judge sign off on that. So I think it's coming from that side too. If you're seeing a lot of people who would normally be custodial parents also, fighting for this equality, I mean, we need to make sure that's getting out there. So, because it is, it's good for all of us. It's good for moms. It's good for dads. It's good for kids.
Jeremy, you're the most important. What do you have in this? You tell the governor right now about 50 parenting.
So I think the main thing to get across is that you need to be looking at the kid and focusing on them instead of trying to appease one parent, which is usually the custodial parent, and trying to appease someone else that's not the kid, when the whole 50-50 is specifically aimed at the kid. That's the main focus of it. The main goal is to benefit the child. And so I think it's really important to take note of that, and to think that you're not just going to be dealing with this random family or this or that. You're going to be influencing a child's life, influencing how they live it and how they experience it. And yeah, just, I guess, focus on the child, because that's the important thing.
For 30 years, Buitrón Academy has produced great fighters, peace officers, firemen, and many great citizens of Laredo. We teach various martial arts, savate, kempo, capoeira, each in their own traditions, trajectory, history, and pedagogy. Buitrón Academy is the first school of savate in the United States, the first capoeira movement in Texas, the first kempo school in Laredo. What will one expect to see at Buitrón Academy? Respect, fellowship, coordination, skill, and self-defense. Buitrón Academy is located at 220 West Hillside Road.
The following political paid advertisements do not reflect the political opinions of the program or its associates. Any political campaign or candidate who wishes to purchase advertising can do so. Advertising is open to all on behalf of Gloves Off.
Hello, how are you? My name is Celestino Marina. I'm running for City Council, District 5, and I would like your support. Together, we will win. Thank you.
Laredo College needs a leader, an educator with a vision to move forward for a positive change. This is why, as your candidate, I want accessible education, and most importantly, I want to listen to your concerns as a stakeholder, students, faculty, staff, and taxpayers. It's time for education over politics.
Vote Justin Huntsnusher Casiano for Laredo College Board, place 7.
Hi Laredo, this is Carlos Perez. I'm running for Laredo College Board of Trustees Place 8. You can follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at CG Perez for LC. I look forward to gaining your support this campaign season and earning your vote November 3rd. Thank you.